Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mobile Weekly / Mobile Q&A, where we go over all the latest news that happened during the week of mobile and answer your questions live. If you have a question you want to ask, just ask it in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. Alright guys, we got a lot of tech to cover, and yes, I do apologize for the second week. I did not have content up this week. I do apologize. I have been, again, trying to lose weight. I'm up to 9 pounds lost. Have to do a little bit more to get to that 10 pounds on 2 weeks. As of Tuesday was when I started. So that is really cool if I get to 10 pounds lost in 2 weeks. So still working on that. But now let's get to the news. All right, so the big news. It happened yesterday, and I wanted to make sure everyone knows about it because this, I think, is probably one of the biggest announcements in the tech industry for the year, and I'm not exaggerating on that. Google Play games, Android games, are coming to Windows officially in 2022. So we do not yet know how this is going to happen. What is this going to be? Basically, Google is creating an app for Windows to be on Windows. Now, the reason why that's so big, it's big for multiple reasons. One, Windows architecture, basically on ARM processors, has been horrible. For instance, I have not recommended what was the last generation Surface Pro X. Was horrible because it just didn't work in a lot of ways. So that one thing was just like, no one should get that. It is horrible for people to buy, especially at the price. It was like $1,000. It was a horrible price for what you got in compatibility. But the reason why this is so big is because of the fact that we could actually get now Android games, so all Android games on a Windows platform. Now, this is very interesting because this goes outside of the whole outlook for Windows 11 getting Amazon apps. So that is still only on Windows 11, exclusive to Windows 11, and the big thing about that is, of course, you're not getting Google apps here. The interesting thing about this is this is going to be gaming. So why is that so interesting? Because of the fact that when it comes to gaming, you're going to have a weird kind of turnabout. So this is kind of what could happen. That gaming could now make Windows ARM-based computers more interesting. Because if you can play all the ARM architecture games, that's going to be really good. Of course, it's also going to be able to be playing Android games on full-blown PCs, so we're going to be able to see performance like we've never seen before in a lot of senses. Now, there are some games that really just aren't available on Windows that you can play on Android. Those aren't like some of maybe the best games out there, but there are some, like for instance, one that just came out was Final Fantasy First Soldier. That is a mobile game exclusive for Android and iOS. There was one but for Blizzard. I forgot what it was, but that was a mobile game exclusive that did... I forgot what it was called, but it was like only online, and it was a big joke at one of the gaming conventions. You guys own mobile phones, right? So yeah, it was like a big joke about it. So this is interesting though for that fact that we're actually going to get Android games on there. The really interesting part is that we're going to get it through an app. So is this a deal that developers are going to have to make with Google in order to get on this app? Is this going to be just every app on the Google Play Store? Will it have to be some optimization done? What will happen here is the really interesting part, and how it will all work. Very curious to see how that will go. So yeah, it's a big thing to see how that all comes about in a very short time. So yeah, I think this is going to be huge implementation for what Windows and how strong Windows could be over the next 2 or 3 years. Because the big thing that's facing Windows right now, Windows is the most dominant operating system in computers, right? It owns 80% of the market share. Apple owns about, I think 17, 18%, and then Linux owns about 1%. So that is really different though, because the biggest thing that Windows has been facing is the downside, or actually that could have changed. I forgot about Chrome OS. I don't know how much Chrome OS owns in the market share. But overall, those have been the numbers for the past years before Chrome OS really got big. So I don't know how much Chrome OS has now. And I guarantee you Chrome OS got big because of 2020 for sure. So it really is a very interesting thing to see how it will all change based off this feature. Now, again, I'm a big believer that Chromebooks could be the dominant one over time. Chromebooks just need a few certain things. If Chromebooks would have a good video editor, a perfect photo editor, and a accounting software that businesses could use, I think Chrome OS would have a really good shot, especially with ARM-based chips on Chromebooks, which we're barely starting to see, that they could rival the long battery life and fluidity that you get from Mac OS, and the ability to use hardware and software so perfectly as you really get in Windows for just pure performance. So very curious to see how it will go, and overall it's interesting to see what implementations this will have, including possibly getting more Google ARM apps outside of the games on Windows. That's very curious. All right, then we get what I would have to say is one of the ugliest car concepts I have ever seen. It doesn't have a notch, but this is from Apple Patents. This is what at least one of the renditions of the first Apple car were at least originally designed to look like. Obviously, this is a patent, so it means they could never do anything with it. It means that they could have changed it all by now, but we are seeing some fairly things that we have seen. You know, this looks like a, what is it, Raven kind of lights setup. It's an electric car, of course, so you don't have to have the grille up at the top. It's just more of a look style on the bottom. Very boxy, kind of reminiscent of a more sleek Cybertruck. Like it does have a lot of harsh lines, but then also curves at the same time. I absolutely hate the back. Like, to me, this is ugly. This is just ugly, plain ugly. I think it doesn't look good. Overall, voice assistant by Siri in a car sounds terrifying as your main assistant throughout the interface, but we'd have to see. Yeah, we're just very curious to see overall how it looks. And they do have some things that just will not happen. So almost all concept cars do this, where they swivel around and you can have like a conversation with the other people there. That just never pans out. Like nothing has ever really seemed like it, no government basically has ever really approved that, it seems like, just because of course you shouldn't be able to turn around your passenger seat all the way around, because then people could do that while driving. So yeah, just, it is what it is in terms of that, but very just interesting, I would say. But I would say if this is what Apple has coming for us, I think they need a lot of work, and maybe this is why some people haven't wanted to work with them, because they want this possible unrealistic expectation and it just doesn't look promising. So very curious to see. I mean, again, I truly do believe that Apple could succeed at cars, but I think they're going to fail at least for the first time, and then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Apple car? Let me know in the comment section down below. Doesn't have a notch. All right, and then we get to some other news, and the first benchmarks for the Galaxy S22 Ultra have come out. However, they are a little bit lower than the reference device with this processor. So the reference device with this processor is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and that one scored 12 and 38. These leaked ones do score 12, but a much lower 31 instead of 38. That actually is less than even the S21 Ultra. So again, this could be just not optimized for the newer processor yet, all of that kind of stuff. But it looks like it'll probably more fall in line with this compared to the S21 Ultra. So yes, we're moving in the right direction. Is it that big of a leap? No, not really. I mean, phones are pretty fast nowadays, right? It's more about what they're going to be doing in terms of the camera processing. It's more going to be determined in terms of the battery life performance. I would say in terms of speed performance, our phones are as fast as we need them to be. It's more so what they can do outside of that. Optimizing battery life and definitely optimizing camera and video performance, I think, are more crucial nowadays than anything else. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Do you guys just want faster and faster phones? Or are you pretty much at the point where you're okay with the speed of your phone, like I'm suggesting? And I think it's more of how can it improve the camera, how can it improve the battery life, how can it improve the task you want to do more than just overall performance like a game or something like that. All right, and then we have the Tab S8 Ultra and a leak on the price point. So we don't know the exact US price point yet. Let me say that. But it looks like it will be starting at 1.39 million won, which equivalates to at about 1,178. Now, the reason why that can be a little bit misleading is because the Tab S7 Plus started around this price, which would equal 975. However, when it came to the US, it was 849. So if we kind of go by this logic, it looks like it's a pretty easy bet to say that the Tab S8 Ultra, when it comes to the US, would either be $949 or $999. My bet is it's going to be an even 1,000. That is pretty steep. I mean, you're talking about, I just bought a gaming laptop for my daughter that was that price, and it can edit videos. It can edit these videos, the YouTube videos that I make. And that's $1,000. You can get a huge TV for that price point. It's really kind of interesting. I mean, you can get, you know, not Samsung top of the line phone, but you can get basically the S21 Plus for $1,000. So it's interesting to see that they're going that high of a price. They're really entering that high-end market territory when it comes to the tablets. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys interested in this 14.4 or 14.2 inch, I think it was? I want to say, I'm forgetting what the size was. Maybe it was 14.6. 14.6. So again, this one will be 14.6 inch screen compared to the Tab S7 Plus's 12.4 inch display. So that being said, would you pay $100 more to $150 more for basically 2 inches, a little bit more than 2 inches more on the display, and a bigger battery life, better processor, all that kind of stuff? Let me know your guys' thoughts on that. I'm very curious to see how this goes. I will say that I have not been as excited about the Ultra since the notch. So for me, I think I'm going to end up getting the Tab S8 Plus if it gives me everything else the Ultra has. If the Ultra has some other features that the Plus doesn't have, then I might consider getting the Ultra. But as of right now, I'm going to be trading in my Tab S7 Plus for a Tab S8 Ultra or for a Tab S8 Plus. That I don't know yet. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Again, the Tab S7 Plus currently is $849. When it goes on sale, it's like $699. But as of right now, the Tab S8 Ultra looks like it'll be $949 or $999. All right, this one came out right before I started, so I haven't got a chance to take a look at it, but the Moto Edge X30 just went live in China, and it is the first phone sporting the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, 144 hertz display. It is 6.7 inch 1080p display for this one. It has a traditional hole punch. Let's see what cameras it has. So it has 8 gigs of RAM to 12 gigs of RAM and 128 256, 5,000 milliamp fast support charge with up to 68 watts. That is really impressive from Moto. So that I really love that we're seeing that. Two 50 megapixel cameras. I'm guessing these will probably be the same sensors we saw on Google. However, without all of Google's backup when it comes to architecture. And a silly, not necessary 2 megapixel depth camera. Like, why are these still being made? Why? And then a really impressive 60 megapixel front camera. So that's pretty cool that they have that one. Now, it looks like the starting price of this will only be $500? Really? Very curious. Again, this is a special edition of this phone, and it's going to be coming out December 15th to China. I'm very curious to see if Moto will have this at CES and if they will have any more information. CES is the first week of January. I'm very curious if they will have any more information about this coming to the US, because for $500 with these specs, although again, I pan them for doing the depth camera, very curious on this coming to the US for that price. That's impressive. All right, guys, and let's get to the last two bit of news. So I thought this was pretty interesting. Android Authority did an already comparison on the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 versus the Dimensity 9000. Now, this is a MediaTek's new processor. And the reason why this is so kind of interesting is because of the fact that with this one, MediaTek is really coming strong, and you kind of see it in this comparison. So overall, by a sliver, MediaTek's top processor is slightly faster than Snapdragon's. But then we also have a much faster mid-core setup at 2.85 instead of 2.5. And then the lower entry-level ones are going to be the same 1.8, 1.8. But that is pretty interesting because overall, it looks like the performance is kind of better on here. Now, in terms of the overall graphics card, unfortunately, Qualcomm especially has been very quiet about their graphics cards. We do not know yet on how it's going to perform, so we'll have to wait to see that. In terms of the display, I would still give the nod to Qualcomm overall just because it's 144 hertz in QHD. They displayed it as 180 in FHD. So overall, it's a little bit better off. I would say this is going to be a better benchmark to go by. In terms of the machine learning, we have a hexa-core versus 6 cores. So again, going to be the same on that one. 6 cores on both. Overall, same kind of sub 6 gigahertz, but Qualcomm is the only one that has the millimeter wave. So if you want to get like Verizon 5G, Qualcomm is still going to be the only one, whereas MediaTek won't really support that. So this will probably go to more AT&T and T-Mobile devices when they're unlocked and compatible. And then on the megapixel side, MediaTek goes up to 320 megapixels. Again, obviously these are super sensors that just show you the capability of it, but still pretty interesting. 320 versus 200, so technically this would be a little bit better in the camera main sensor department. In terms of the triple camera setup, they can go up to 36 megapixels each, whereas this one can go up to 32. Fairly similar there. And then it's going to go up to 8K at 24 frames per second, whereas this one go up to 8K at 30 frames per second with HDR. So again, all this kind of stuff for it. And just very interesting to see a slightly faster RAM capability on MediaTek. And again, both smaller size, one made by Samsung, one made by TSMC. And just interesting to see. Also slightly faster form on Bluetooth that isn't really readily available yet, but very interesting because MediaTek has never been in the realm of Qualcomm. I know they did an event. I wasn't there, so I didn't really see what the differences were, but that is pretty interesting to see just how far MediaTek is now going to compare against Qualcomm. And finally, I know we said T-Mobile hasn't made a splash lately or anything like that, but I saw this one and I told you, like, I haven't really known what they've done since John Legere has left. And because this is a really cool thing, I just want to kind of give it a shout out. Not more than that, but employees apparently at T-Mobile now make no less than $20 per hour, and that's pretty cool. If you work directly for T-Mobile, not their third-party affiliates, because they do have lots of those, but if you work directly for T-Mobile, it does look like you now get at least $20 an hour across all of their stores. So that's really cool that that is official from them, and I just wanted to give a shout out for that purpose. All right, guys, now with all that being said, let's get to your questions. If you have a question you want to ask, just ask it in the comments section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. What is the best projector to watch movies and gaming? So here's the thing, I'm going to flat out tell you, gaming is not a strength of projectors. None of them really have the best low latency compared, especially to a monitor. They're just not going to be as quick. If you're talking about the best of the best, they're just not there when it comes to it in comparison. However, overall, I would say that for movies, I still love and still use my XGIMI Horizon Pro. This projector is super amazing, and it's perfect for movies specifically because of the fact that you actually watch it in 4K. It's a very bright luminescence for anything around the same price point. And it really is just an awesome built-in Android TV. Now, I will say that the only thing that I will say that I don't really watch much Netflix, but it does have issues with Netflix specifically. Like, you can sideload it and then it should work fine. But that's just one thing that off the bat, Netflix doesn't work. And I always like to let people know that because you have to be a little bit more techie to get it to work just fine. Now, I'm not saying this is the cheapest one, but it's definitely not the most expensive one. And it definitely goes on sale from time to time. So normal price is $1,600. So this is, again, on the pricey side. But for the quality that it is, the sound quality you get specifically, like I don't need, like this could fill up, I would say, maybe not a living room, but any kind of bedroom, even a bigger size bedroom, this would be perfect without any kind of speaker. And it's better than any TV speaker for sure. So this one I really have grown to like. And again, it does go on sale. Just kind of wanted to quickly look at the price to see what it's dropped to over the past few weeks, because they always have big sales, obviously, throughout the holidays and stuff. So at one point during these holidays, it went all the way to 1,400. So that's a pretty big sale. But yeah, we've seen it definitely go down from time to time, and that's just the normal price. But that one's a really just solid one for watching movies. I've never been disappointed with quality, and even when it's like my lights are on, it's still pretty decent. Not obviously ideal, but especially if you have even like when I have like green lights around here, I could still see it just fine. And then when the lights are off entirely, obviously it's the best look and it just looks freaking awesome. Like, it is my TV for this office. It's the only TV I have for it, and I love it. Hey, Luca, thank you so much for the super chat donation. Great work as always, Ricky. I recently bought the Fold 3. What case would you advise of your favorite choices? Thanks for keeping up the good work. Oh man, so I'll tell you which one I have on mine right now, but there are a lot of good ones. So the one I like overall is the Incipio. This one is just really awesome. I did like the Spigen one that came out that had like the kickstand built in. I thought that one was really cool. It just didn't, it was not compatible with my screen protector. The Incipio has been the only one that's been really perfect with the screen protector, that it doesn't like pop it open or peel it off or anything like that. And then, of course, I've added two things to it. So I've added the kickstand right here, and then the Rinky slot for the S Pen. So this kickstand is phenomenal. It's the ESR kickstand. All of this is in my Fold 3 video, by the way, for the best cases. So, but this one is the one I love this grip on the side. It's really awesome for that. So I really love the grip. It's just perfect. If I wanted to get a clear case, I would probably choose the spec case that I highlighted in there. The spec case is still really good. But those are my top ones, I would say. The VSR is really good too. That one was another one with the built-in kickstand. My boss's boss has that one, and he loves it. So lots of good ones. Again, I went over all of it in depth in that case video. So check out the Z Fold 3 best case video, and it has all in depth on that kind of stuff. But which one do I still use to this day as my main one that I've not switched out since I've gotten it? Has been this one, the Incipio one. I love it. It's nice and thin, really solid grip. I might have honestly stuck with the Spigen case if it had worked with my screen protector, though. I'm not gonna lie, that one was really awesome. And then I didn't have to have a little bulge right here for the kickstand, so wireless charging would be a lot easier than it is with this one. I have to like place it precisely for this one with the kickstand add-on. All right, and let's get. I'm very fascinated by Google Play's games Windows thing. Hopefully it works out very well. I hope so too. It's very interesting to see how it will go for sure. R.I.P. Vicente Fernandez. Yeah, so Vicente Fernandez was my family is from Mexico, so basically a Mexican icon, to say the least. The biggest seller of all time, I think, in Mexico in terms of songs that have sold, and I think in most Spanish countries, he just was so huge. If you spoke Spanish, you knew his music. He would belt out every song, like all those songs that you hear, like amor, like all that stuff. The most well-known ones are from him. Like he just had a voice like no other. It hit me a little bit harder too because my dad passed this year, as you guys know, and his favorite singer of all time was Vicente Fernandez. So yeah, it really kind of was just interesting that it happened all together, kind of thing this year. But yeah, so definitely rest in peace to him. National treasure. He'll be celebrated. It kind of reminds me, not the evil side, right? But how they made, if any of you guys have ever seen Coco from Disney Pixar's Coco, it really, like how they depicted Ernesto, I think his name was Ernesto Fernandez. I forgot his last name, but Ernesto, I'm not gonna say his place in the movie, but how they depicted him as like the national treasure that will always be remembered. That's Vicente, except for, he really was a good guy overall, it seemed like. But again, I don't know too much of his history, of his personal life. But yeah, it was like he was the national treasure that will always be remembered for sure. All right. Well, at least there's no notch. Yeah, at least the Apple, car doesn't have a notch. I'd rather buy a Pinto over the Apple car. I would rather buy a Pinto over the Apple car. I mean, it looks like a Pinto to me, just uglier. Yeah, oh my God, I just thought of the worst PR thing ever from Apple. Apple, you're driving it wrong. because of course they wouldn't blame any accident on themselves. The back kind of looks like a Prius. Yeah, not too far off. It looked, everything about it looked uglier to me. So yeah, pretty much. Only way we'll see a full self-driving cars when every vehicle is connected C2C enable. So yeah, that's a good point. So just so you guys know, the problem right now, I would say, with most self-driving cars is us, humans. we make spontaneous decisions and we move around very quickly. And that's a problem for cars. They can't communicate with us. So the whole idea is that eventually when all cars have a self-driving ability, if then all cars turn that on, then they can talk to each other. So cars eventually will be able to be like, hey, I'm going to go over into this lane. The other cars in front and back of it will be like, okay, well, here's your space. And it lets them. So that's the whole idea, that basically eventually we will be able to have cars drive us once everyone has that ability. Of course, I do not think that'll happen in my lifetime, at least. I don't know about everyone's lifetime in the chat, but that is something that, I mean, because if you have to think about it, if almost everyone has to have a car like that, you're talking about at least 30 plus years in the future, at least, right? I don't even think every person will have a 30-year or newer car in 30 years in the future, though, because, you know, people like older cars, people like, you know, to restore different cars and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be very curious to see how that will go. Should I get a screen protector for my Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 Classic? I've never gotten one for the Classic, so I do have a Classic. For the regular Galaxy Watch 4, I would recommend it, and the reason is because they don't have the physical ring to block it. But I have never done anything damaging to it, at least not yet. Salut, Ricky, salut. Do you think I should upgrade my regular S20 to a Galaxy Z Flip 3? That's kind of the same phone. I honestly would have to look at the specs overall, but it really is kind of like the Galaxy S20 camera. I think sensor, everything is the same on the Flip 3. But I will tell you, my mom's had the Flip 3 since launch and she's loved it. I mean, she's been very happy with it. So I think that, like, if you just need basics, taking photos, doing all the kind of stuff that she does all the time and everything like that, and she has never complained about the battery life, which was a lot of complaints about others. Now for hers, I do put it to 60 hertz refresh rate just because she wouldn't notice 120 hertz, so that could play into it again. But she has not noticed a difference really from her S20 that she got to the Flip 3 in terms of battery life, in terms of downgrade. So that does be kind of rewarding, and it's a cool phone. It's a cool phone for sure. Everyone ready for the holidays? I'm ready for Christmas and New Year's. I'm ready for Christmas and New Year's too. Although I have to admit, Christmas and New Year's is exciting to me, but man, I'm just excited to go to CES. I haven't been to CES in 2 years, and like I miss it so much. So very excited for that. Just cannot wait for that. That's gonna be my tech Christmas, CES. Ricky, do you think Microsoft spoil GitHub by buying it, and do Microsoft own all the code hosted on their platform? I don't really use GitHub, to be honest. I just haven't really used it as much. I could see how, you know, Microsoft doesn't do really great things with anything that they buy, unfortunately. Like, they buy cash cows, but they don't really do anything with it. Like, what has LinkedIn done for years? SwiftKey, the best keyboard, I still say to this day, hasn't really changed much except for having the search for Bing with Microsoft's leadership under it. Like, Microsoft, I feel, unfortunately, when they buy a company, it's in order to expand their portfolio, to make more money, but they don't really invest in it like I think a lot of other companies would. So unfortunately, I'm never too big a fan of when Microsoft buys anything because I haven't seen them really do something that moves things forward. Yeah, and Vicente Fernandez, Roberto commented Mexican royalty, pretty much. Absolutely, definitely. That is what he's seen as. At Ricky, when you said you would have stick with the Spigen, did you mean the thin flip P or what? Oh, let me see what model it is. Spigen Fold 3 case. So the one I would stick with, let me just show. It had this one. So this is the one that I like the most from Spigen. This is the Neo Hybrid S, and the reason is because it had a built-in kickstand. They have a new one coming out with an S Pen, but I don't like it as much. Yeah, this is the Fit P, but this one doesn't have the kickstand if I'm not mistaken. So I would definitely get a kickstand over the just bulkier thing with the, I would totally just put a ring fit thing on the back and that would be good for me. So for me, that would be the one that I would recommend. Is not the thin Fit P, but the Neo Hybrid S design, because it has a really awesome built-in kickstand that's just, it was so good quality. Again, if my screen protector had worked with it, I would have probably kept this one on. I guess the funny thing is you could always mix and match because of how this is done. So I could probably take this back off and put the Spigen one on here and then just have the front of this one, but it wouldn't match. I don't know if I care about that. Now I'm kind of curious to see if I could do that. Maybe this might have given me anything. And I am going to test out a new, we did get a new case in the studio. It's downstairs. But we did get a new case that has a kickstand and an S Pen built in. It's not a high quality brand, so we'll see how it looks, but I just got it in the studio, so I'm going to be doing another case review this week. Yes, I have seen Coco. Yeah, there you go. Do you think you'll be able to play 51st Date Questions on Windows, the gameplay? Hey, hopefully, right? But yes, time for my shameless plug of the week. 51st Date Questions is a game that I made. It's a really fun game that you can play with your significant other. It is a fun first date night just to break the ice and to find out about each other, see if you're compatible or not, or just a really great game to play on a date with your significant other, see where their head's at, see what they're thinking about, and they'll answer questions that you might not have asked otherwise, but you asked because it's a game. 51st Date Questions, again, links in the description for Android and for iOS. All right. Love the show. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate it, man. What happened to the Google Pixel video? Yes, unfortunately, Peter, I am sorry. I did not get to do it. At the top of the show, I did let you guys know. Unfortunately, I haven't just been able to find the fine tuning right now. I'm losing weight, which means I'm running at night, but that has unfortunately taken time away from the channel. I have still been doing some videos. If you guys want to go ahead and check out, I just did another Newegg video on how to upgrade your SSD on your laptop, which I actually did for my laptop. I upgraded from a 1 terabyte to a 2 terabyte drive. I show you how to clone software, how to format your hard drive, all that kind of stuff, all the in-depth stuff. Did a whole video on that. You can go ahead and check it out on Newegg Studios YouTube channel. But I have been trying to find that balance. And I'm going to try it again tonight. I'm going to run right after this show. I'm going to go right to bed after, and I'm going to hopefully wake up at 4 a.m. like I used to be able to knock some videos out and do some videos so I can get some content for you guys. I apologize again for that. I am not happy with myself for not putting out content. The Pixel video is my #1 priority, the Google Pixel camera video, how to set that up. So yeah, that one is going to be the #1 video I do. So that one's first. I got the Lenovo tablet that I've been meaning to do too, so that one's going to be knocked out as well. And then I got 2 headphone videos. So all this stuff is coming soon. I do apologize for the delay, but trust me, I am going to get it to you guys. It's just a matter of time. What's the difference between IPX8 and IP68? So this is the deal. You always hear about water and dust resistance. That is actually explained in the IP rating. So ingress protection is IP, and then you go to what the first number is. The first number refers to dust. So how much of a rating is dust going to be able to get in? An X is a 0. It means it is not dust proof whatsoever. It is not. And then as you go higher to 6 is pretty much dust proof. Like, you're pretty good there. You don't have to worry about sand and things like that and all that kind of stuff. You're pretty good there when it comes to dust proof at a 6. And that's why it's IP6 is usually the dust protection. Then you have the IP rating for water, and water is the second number. So IP68, the 8 is referring to how good of a water resistant it is. It's why some headphones that are only sweat resistant or splash resistant are IP64, IP63, IP65. So they're only splash or slightly sweat resistant, but they're not proof. IP68 or 69 means you can pretty much go in the water and you're just fine, no problem submerging it. Now, the caveat to this that I always want to recommend is waterproof does not mean salt waterproof. No phone is really recommended for salt water because metal corrodes. So it's not really recommended for salt water. Let's see. What's the best app to... No idea. No idea. Someone, hey, if anyone knows in the comment section, help my boy, help out my friend. He said, what's the best app to find an escort? He's not trolling. No idea. Never need to find one. So there you go. If you guys know, let him know. What would be Tech Christmas? What would a Tech Christmas be made of? Ideally, it would be a week of Google and Samsung announcements with all the latest tech, and just me in a room with it. That would be a Tech Christmas, perfect Tech Christmas. But that probably won't happen ever. My cousin is looking to buy a laptop for a reasonable price. What key specs should I look for to know how good it is? So the main thing that I recommend in a laptop is 2 things. The processor. The processor should be an Intel i5 processor or a AMD Ryzen 5 processor. So Intel i5 processor or Ryzen 5 processor. Those 2 are the processors you're looking for. The second thing you're looking for is how much RAM would you want. You want anything more than 8 gigs of RAM. So 12 to 16 gigabytes RAM. That's what you're looking for. Those are the 2 things that I recommend for all basic users. If you get those, this laptop will last at least about 3 to 5 years with those specs. And that's what I recommend. I don't recommend, oh, get a laptop that'll get you through the year, because that could be an i3 processor with an 8 gigs of RAM. People grow with their computers. Yes, they might need the very basic minimum right now, but I promise you, they will get annoyed by 1 year's time with 8 gigs of RAM, and an i3 processor is really entry level. Like, you are not going to have more than 3 tabs open on your web browser. You're not going to use Windows Explorer, Chrome, and Word at the same time. You need those 2 at the same time. You want an i5. Like, these are things that, again, people don't realize how much basic needs you want for better off stuff. But those would be my 2 recommendations. Again, that will last for 3 to 5 years, no problem, no matter how much they end up doing, unless they get into like photo editing or video editing. But that would be everything you need kind of stuff. So yeah, that would be the best thing I would recommend for your cousin. And you can probably find that from anywhere between, I would say on the low end, open box, maybe something like that. You can get probably for around $450 or something like that. On the high end, you're probably going to get it for as high as $700. But in that range, you're going to find those specs depending on what you're looking for. Other than that, I mean, you can still look at stuff like weight. Lightweight is obviously always preferred, but some people don't care about it as much. It depends if you're taking it to school or work all the time. Every day, this is going to be on your back. How much weight are you okay with? Those kind of things, but yeah, it depends. Ricky, what movies will you watch with Christmas for the holidays? Family movies that we tend to watch. My son is actually really into well, it's a debate, right? If it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. But The Nightmare Before Christmas, he loves. I've just been playing the YouTube version of it, the "What's This" by Jack Skellington, that he does in that movie. He loves that song right now. He's so much into it. Can't stop playing it. But yeah, no, that's one really cool thing for sure. But like I like to watch Home Alone movies are pretty cool. I like Home Alone 2, I feel like more as I've grown older, but the first one's always the classic. The Santa Claus. I don't know why I've always liked that movie, but the Santa Claus, I really liked that movie. And I only see it more now as a dad too. So it's funny because when you're young, you see yourself as the kids, and then when you're older, you see yourself as the dad or what you'd want the dad, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I would basically look out for in terms of it, in terms of a Christmas movie. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the Grinches. I like the. My favorite, because everyone has a favorite, right? My favorite version of A Christmas Carol, and again, it's a weird one, is the Disney one with the cartoon. So with Scrooge being Scrooge, and then like Mickey Mouse being Bob Cratchit, and yeah, just like that kind of, it was just so well done. And again, it's perfect for the family and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that one, both Grinch movies, I don't know. I don't feel like I would watch the classic Grinch cartoon anymore. I feel like I would either watch the Jim Carrey version or the recent one with Benedict Cumberbatch, the new animation one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like to just different family ones. What are some of your favorite Christmas movies? I know some people are going to say Die Hard. Again, I don't know if all of you were here before, but I had not seen Die Hard till last year. 2020 was the first time I ever saw Die Hard. I'd never seen the movie. And then the debate kept coming up. So I like, all right, let me see if this is a Christmas movie kind of thing, So yeah, that's the one that I end up finally seeing that everyone had always said was a Christmas movie. I don't have that Christmas attachment to it because I had never seen it. But so yeah, there's just different ones for sure. But yeah, that's all that I can think of. I don't know. What are some of your favorite Christmas movies? Let me know in the comment section. Maybe watch some of them this holiday season. Hey, New Egg Videos here. Thank you so much for Quiet Storm. And yeah, if you do click that video, like, comment, watch the entire video. Even if you're not listening to it, just put it on mute, let it play in the background. Let it all the way play though. I really appreciate it. It really helps out my metrics. Congratulations on losing weight. I need to lose 2. Do you trust health tracker on the Galaxy Watch 4? I do for the most part. I run. I'm running up to about 1.8 miles now, according to the Galaxy Watch. And that's about 4,000 steps around for me. So that's about half an hour. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm doing pretty well on it, and I do. At least I know I'm losing the calories and everything like that I need to. So yeah. Ricky, would you consider doing YouTube full time at 500K subscribers? Is in incentive inciting for brand deals and sponsorships? Absolutely. I mean, I love doing some of the work I'm doing for Newegg because I'm getting to see how a full operation does. I mean, they have a team that does their YouTube channel, right? Like I am doing this all myself. I do the photos, the hosting, thumbnails, the video editing, like everything I do myself. The setup, the entire setup, I've always done myself. So it's really interesting seeing like how a whole team can do it. Crank out 5 videos every week, plus other videos on top of that, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really kind of cool insight to see it. But yeah, I would love to. At 500 subscribers, I think I could be to the point where I could comfortably do YouTube full time. But I don't know. I would have to always kind of see. And again, for me, it's always being able to provide for my family, to provide, you know, certain lifestyle that I didn't have as a kid. That is something that I definitely hope to provide. But yeah, at 500,000, I think I could comfortably do this full time, where I could be a sole provider even for my family if need be, if I needed to be. And yes, because of the brand deals and sponsorships you kind of get at that level, it really is. Like I've seen people with lower sponsors than me and people with higher sponsors than me, or sorry, subscribers than me, and how much they get paid. And I'm like, damn, for one video? For one video. Man, crazy. But yeah, I'll tell you one thing I have learned for sure. Some people with like extremely high, what do you call it, subscribers, like the ones with millions and millions of subscribers, they get paid sometimes upwards for one video, probably the average American salary for the whole year. It's insane how high you can get when you're, you know, 5+ million subscribers and all that kind of stuff, 10+ million subscribers. Like, it's insane. Like it, yeah, crazy. What was saying? Do you think I should upgrade to the Pixel 6 Pro? I think the Pixel 6 Pro is more of an upgrade than the Flip 3. It's not as cool looking, but I mean, dude, the photo and video quality of this phone, I would say, is overall better than anything Samsung had to offer this year. Especially when filming 60 frames per second in low light, it was just not even close. How to play the same song over and over again phase. Oh yeah, I've been in that phase since like 6 months in. Every parent, I think, in the world wants to kill the baby shark. Like every parent. Chevy Chase, Christmas Vacation is my favorite. I haven't seen that. My favorite of the National Lampoons, I only saw like the end of them, so I didn't see all of them. But I love the Vegas one. That's one I really like. And I always, it was funny because in that movie, one of the gags was the kid would play the slots and always win a car, and I was like, is that how easy it is to win a car out there? I want to go. But yeah, that was one that was pretty good for sure. Let's see. Personal favorite is the OG Grinch. Got it. Definitely a classic for sure. Hey tech guy, I recently bought iPhone 12. Should I trade it for the iPhone 13 or just hold it? I mean, the iPhone 13 definitely has a better battery life. That was a huge jump, I would say, from there. You did also get a little bit of a camera upgrade, but not by too much to upgrade for. I would say if you're not satisfied with the iPhone 12 battery life, the iPhone 13 should definitely get you a better battery life for sure. I just seen your video on the best bokeh for S21. Simple trick helps for better bokeh. Yes, that one was one that I was so happy with because I was just like, there has to be a better way, and that is one thing that bigger sensors give you. So when you see these bigger sensors like 50 megapixels on the Google Pixel 6 Pro or the 108 megapixel sensor on the S21 Ultra, that was the real benefit of it, that you actually get a really big sensor with a lot of megapixels that just does the perfect bokeh effect. It's so awesome. I like the Christmas Story. That's always a good one for sure. Do you know what's the best monthly streaming service for boxing? I do not. I mean, I liked boxing a lot as a kid. I would say all throughout high school, I would probably see every boxing match, but I have just fallen out of boxing. I've not been the biggest fan of it for many years now. I would say I just haven't seen it as much. So just don't. I appreciate a good fight. I love a good boxing fight. I think it's more entertaining personally than MMA when you have a really good match. What people don't like about boxing, I would say, is dancing around, you know, Floyd Mayweather. But yeah, so that's, you know, people want to see more of an actual combat than just like, don't get me wrong, I love a good counterpuncher. Freaking Roy Jones Jr. at his prime was so good to watch. But that's just a little bit of my boxing insight for sure. Oh, here's a bit of tech guy irony. The third Sunday of January will be 116. There you go, for sure. Always 116. It's always 116 here. Oh, someone recommended the ESPN Plus or the DAZN. So yeah, those are. Is that how you say that? I don't know, but yeah. So it's safe to say that Lou from Unbox has tons of money for one video. Oh yeah, Lou is making bank off of videos, like easily. I mean, he still has the most subscribers. MKBHD hasn't caught up to him yet, but I mean, Lou has to be making. I mean, I would probably say 100 to 200K per video. That's ridiculous, but probably. Again, I don't know that. I'm just saying, like, I would bet that's probably how much he's getting. All right, guys. With that being said, I do want to end on time today. I got to go run, lose some more weight, hopefully get down to lose. I've lost 9 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds by Tuesday. So I make sure to lose more and more weight as time goes by. All right, guys. Thank you guys always so much for watching. I will try to get up some more videos this week. I do apologize for not doing it, and I will at least get 2 to 3 videos up, hopefully, for this week for sure. Thank you guys always so much for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy.
Thank you so much again for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below. Also, follow us on social media at YouTube Tech Guy.